恭请大德圣听，为此法会，及一切众生，请转妙法轮，教导我们如何了生脱死。离苦得乐，殊真无生。Well, the Sangha with great virtue, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach us how to leave suffering and attain bliss and end birth and death, and quickly realize non-birth.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one. Namo saranto suchetoye alahati san miao san puto che. 无上甚深微妙法，百千万劫难遭遇。我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。Supreme and wondrous Dharma, subtle and profound, rarely is encountered, even in a billion eons. But now we see and hear it and accept it reverently. May we truly understand the Buddha's actual meaning. Namo, quelling disasters, lending life, Medicine Master Buddha. 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 Namo, excuse me, quelling disasters, lending life, Medicine Master Buddha. Medicine Master does come one. 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 Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerable Master, and all good knowing advisors, Amitabha, welcome back. We are on lecture 158 of the Dharma. Let me get today's slides. To start off, I have a slide in front of us which Shufu is saying in his Shufu's commentary on the Earth Sutra. Shufu says, when we study sutras, the important point is to reverse one's illumination. In other words, study yourself a little. Simply to study the books and let it go at that is useless. So in other words, what Shufu is saying is when we study the sutras, because the sutras point to our self-nature, and especially and also not just, I was going to say especially the Theravada sutras, but actually no, all sutras, they point out our current faults. But if you only read the sutras and understand the words of the sutra and leave it as that, it's not really Dharma. As far as personally, when the individual is concerned, it's not Dharma yet. It's only theory. It's the Buddha's teachings. But it, excuse me, when does it turn into Dharma? When you use your own experience to reflect upon the sutra. And that's the only way you can understand the sutra from your point of view. What does that mean? It means, for example, say you take the Shurangama Sutra, for example. A newcomer to Buddhism will probably not understand a lot of it. They may understand the words, the sentences, the structure of the meanings, but they may not understand what he's trying to say. Whereas you get someone who's been studying and meditating for many years, they understand a bit deeper. And then you compare to someone, say a bodhisattva on the first ground, their understanding of the sutra will be vastly different compared to the first two. But the only way you can get to an advanced level is by constantly reflecting on what the sutra means to you in your everyday lives. And that's how the sutras can come alive. All right. Okay. So what we're going to do today, we're going to go back to the Parita chanting, and we're going to finish it this week. And after that, we're going to go back to the sutra, and that section of the sutra, I would like to highlight certain things. Like, for example, what does it mean when the sutras say, when you see and hear the Buddha? Because normally when they say things like that, it's followed by benefits, a list of benefits. For example, in our sutra that we're reading right now, the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, if you remember Medicine Master Buddha's vows, all the vows are all about, okay, not all, but most of the vows are about seeing or hearing Medicine Master Buddha's name, and then all the benefits. So what does it mean when they say see or hear? And then we'll look at making offerings, sections. We'll take out sections from the sutra. Okay, but for now, we're going to look at Parita chanting as part of our exploration of mantras. And then we're going to do a quick summary before we get back to the sutra text. Okay, so let me see. Let me just quickly look at. All right, so in the Theravada world, all right, they don't really do mantras. They do paritas. So paritas are sutras that serve the same function as mantras. All right. So I'll just read. It says, it's customary for Buddhist monks when invited to the homes of the laity on occasions of importance such as birthdays, housewarming, illness, and similar events to recite the three popular discourses. What are the three popular discourses? They are the Mangala Sutta, the Ratana Sutta, and the Karinaya Metta Sutta. This practice isn't actually the Mahayana Buddhists don't really do this, which is not so good, because Shifu says that, on occasions where children are born, auspicious occasions, there should always be something like this. So why do they recite these three suttas? Well, the Mangala Sutta is about blessings and prosperity. All right, the title of the sutta is the highest blessings. I'm looking at our list of people who have joined. Where happened to everyone today? There's only, let's say, half. Yeah, half of people who are usually here. Okay, anyway, maybe they'll join in a few minutes. And then the Ratana Sutta is to be free of disease, evil spirits, and famine. Okay, and then the Karaniya Metta Sutta is a sutra on loving kindness. So we've done that before. It's called most usually people call it the Metta Sutta. So let me give you a brief background, okay, on these three sutras. Maybe not all three. I'll start with the Ratana Sutta, the middle one. How it came about as a practice that started during the Buddha's time is that there was a city, a town, no, a city, big city, big town named Vasali during the Buddha's time. And at one time, there was a famine and a lot of people died, especially the poor people. And because a lot of poor people died, there were a lot of bodies and they were decaying. And because of this, it was said that a lot of evil spirits began to appear because they were attracted by the dead bodies. And because there were evil spirits, somehow or other, it caused a pestilence. And so the three disasters, it was famine, evil spirits, and pestilence plagued the whole city. So the people living there didn't know what to do. So they went to get the help of the Buddha. So a group of monks, I think it was led by Venerable Ananda, if I was not mistaken, then went to the city of Vasali. Just give me a moment, excuse me. So they went with the Buddha to the city, and when the Buddha came, there was this huge rain. This very huge rain which swept away all the bodies, all the dead bodies from the city. And then the atmosphere itself, the air itself became purified, and then the city was clean. And then everyone invited the Buddha to speak Dharma. And then guess what sutra the Buddha spoke? It was this, the Ratana Sutra. And in this sutra, the Buddha gave instructions to Ananda on how he should lead the citizens and to recite the sutra as a protection spell, as a spell of protection for the people. So what Ananda did after that, excuse me, he took water from the Buddha's alms bowl, and with that water he sprinkled like how we purify the boundaries. So he went with the people of Vasali, and he sprinkled the water around, and that cleared the space, the city of the evil spirits, and then the disease also disappeared. Yeah. All right. So that's how this Ratana Sutta came about. The Metta Sutta, the Loving Kindness Sutta, also very interesting. Loving kindness is known as the only weapon monks can have. Not really a weapon, but that's the only protection a monastic has when they, especially if you go to the forest, and the forest has a lot of trees, a lot of spirits around in the forest, and if you get attacked by any spirits or animals, wild animals, the only way you can protect yourself is by spreading loving kindness. So I've shared this before, so I do it very briefly. There was a group of monks who went into the forest, and this for during their rains retreat. So during rains retreat, it's not like a normal day. A normal day, you can spend up to maximum 3 nights at one place. Then you have to move. This is part of the precepts for a monk. But in the rains retreat, you spend 3 months at one place. You don't move. So when they found a suitable place, the 3 spirits were very upset. Why? Because when the monks were around, they couldn't stay in the trees because it would be higher than the monks. So they had to come down to the ground. And that gave them a lot of trouble. And after a while, when they couldn't take it anymore, they started harassing the monks. They made sounds like ghosts, and they tried to scare the monks to run away. So the monks went to the Buddha and asked for help. And the Buddha said, oh, okay, use loving kindness, and give them the Metta Sutta. So the monks went back and radiated loving kindness, and they chanted the sutra, and the 3 spirits were pacified and by their practice, and because they also benefit when you practice loving kindness, spirits benefit as well. So they were very happy and they allowed them to stay there. Yeah. Okay, now coming back to our slide, it says in the domestic and social life of the people of Sri Lanka, the Pirit is their word for Parita. The Parita ceremony is of great significance. No festival or function, religious or social, is complete without the recital of the Parita. On special occasions, the recitation of the Parita Suttas continue through the night, or for 3 or 7, and at times for weeks. Now, let me ask all of you here, have any of you witnessed or have been part of any ceremony such as this? Anyone? This is more in the Sri Lanka Buddhist tradition. Anyone? No? Okay. Then it says, on such occasions, a pavilion, this is on the long tree up to a week or longer, they construct a pavilion for the purpose of accommodating the monks at the recital. Before the commencement of the recital, the laity present at the ceremony makes a formal invitation to the monks by reciting in Pali 3 stanzas which explain the purpose of the recital. So this is part of the ritual. Then the invited monks, generally about 12 or 14, will recite the 3 popular suttas. Thereafter, a pair of monks will commence reciting the remaining suttas for 2 hours. Then they will retire and will be followed by another pair for another 2 hours. 2 monks must be constantly officiating. In this manner, the recital will last till dawn. Okay. While the recital continues, there will be found a pot of water placed on the table before the monks. On this table, there is also a sacred thread. For an all-night Parita ceremony, the casket containing a relic of the Buddha or Sharira of the Buddha, and this is used to represent the Buddha, and the book of protection written on ola leaves I think are palm leaves, that represents the Dharma, are also brought into the pavilion. So you have the triple jewel, the Buddha, the Dharma, and then you have the Sangha. The thread is drawn round the interior of the pavilion and its end twisted around the casket, the neck of the pot of water, and tied to the cord of the Ola leaf book, creating a boundary. All right. While the special discourses are being recited, the monks hold the thread. The purpose is to maintain an unbroken communication from the water to the relic to the Pirit Pota and to the officiating monks. I think maybe this is an expedient to prevent them from falling asleep. I don't know. I'm just false thinking. And it says a ball of thread connected to the 3 jewels and the water is unloosened and passed on to the listeners seated on the ground on mats who hold the thread while the recital goes on. So all the people there, or the lay people, get to hold the thread as well. Then it says, when the recital in Pali of the entire book is over at dawn, the thread sanctified by the recital is divided into pieces and distributed among the devotees to be tied around their wrists or necks. At the same time, excuse me, the sanctified water is sprinkled on all who even drink a little of it and sprinkle it on their heads. This is what we do with the Tapecho water, the great compassion water. These are to be regarded as symbols of the protective power of the Parita that was recited. It is a service of inducing blessings. It has its psychological effects. So this last paragraph is very important because it's to prevent people from thinking that, oh, there's power or efficacy in the water or in the thread itself. Those are just symbols. And that's why it says they have a psychological effect. All right? Okay. Now, this is not the full list. The full list in the book, it has 24 suttas or paritas, but these are some of the more popular ones. And you have the Mangala Sutta for blessings and prosperity, Ratana, and the Metta Sutta, which we just talked about. And then there's the Kanda Sutta, excuse me, is to protect yourself from snakes and other creatures. And then the Mora Sutta is to protect yourself from traps, imprisonment, and for safety. And then Vata Sutta is to protect from fire. Then there's the Dajaga Sutta from fear, trembling, and horror. The Atanatiya Sutta, that's a very popular sutta as well, from protection from evil spirits and for health and happiness. Then you have the Angulimala Sutta, very short, for mothers who are expecting, for to give them an easy birth. The Bojjhanga Sutta, the protection against sickness and disease. And then the Pubanha Sutta for protection against bad omens and for happiness. Okay, so let me see. Let me check my slides. Okay, what I'm going to do, because I need to just step away really quick, I'm going to show you the Mangala Sutta, and I'm going to ask for a volunteer to recite. Do we have a volunteer? Just read like normal.
I can do it.
Yes, thank you so much, Peggy. I'm going to need maybe a minute, so you start. When you reach the end, if I have not changed the page, I will come and change. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
I should begin.
Yes, when you are
Okay.
ready. Thank you.
Thus have I heard that the Blessed One was staying at Savatthi, residing at Jata Grove in Anthapindika's park. Then, in the dark of the night, a radiant diva illuminated all Jata's grove. She bowed down before the Blessed One, then standing to one side, she said, Divas are concerned for happiness and ever long for peace. The same is true for humankind. What then are the highest blessings? Avoiding those of foolish ways, associating with the wise, and honoring those worthy of honor, these are the highest blessings. Living in places of suitable kinds, with the fruits of past good deeds, and guided by the rightful way, these are the highest blessings. Skilled in learning and craftsmanship, with discipline highly trained, and speech that is true and pleasant to hear, these are the highest blessings. Providing for mother and father support and cherishing family and ways of work that harm no being, these are the highest blessings. Generosity and a righteous life, offering help to relatives and the king, and acting in ways that leave no blame, these are the highest blessings. Steadfast in restraint, shunning evil ways, avoiding intoxicants that dull the mind, and the heedfulness in all things that arise, these are the highest blessings. Respectfulness of humble ways, contentment and gratitude, and hearing the Dharma frequently taught, these are the highest blessings. Patience and accepting one's own faults, seeing venerated seekers of the truth, and sharing often the words of Dharma, these are the highest blessings. Ardent, committed to the holy life, seeing for oneself the noble truth, and the realization of Nibbana, these are the highest blessings. Although involved in worldly tasks, unshaken the mind remains, and beyond all sorrow, spotless, secure, these are the highest blessings. They who live by following this path know victory wherever they go, and every place for them is safe. These are the highest blessings.
Thank you so much, Peggy. That was so good. So, in for the Theravada Sri Lanka Buddhists, usually at the end of something like this, they will say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And in Mahayana, we say Amitofo, Amitofo, but for them, they say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now let me see. I have some slides. The next slides are the Ratana Sutta, and then the Metta Sutta, as well as the reflection on sharing blessings. But I think what I'm going to do, unless someone requests otherwise, is to go to skip all that. I will keep the reflection on sharing blessings towards the end of sutra. Since we dedicate merit, we can read that before we finish. But for now, I was thinking to go back to the sutra text itself. Okay, and then if there's enough time, we can explore the Ratana Sutta or the Metta Sutta. Okay, all right, so we'll do that. Okay, now I'm going to put my palms together. I hope you did put your palms together just now as Peggy was reciting, because there was sutra. From now on, one thing I'm going to do is when it comes to the sutra text, I'm going to use this yellow color instead of the normal gray, just to distinguish the text from the sutra from normal notes. Okay. All right, so I'm going to put my palms together. It says, moreover, Manjushri, man or woman of pure faith, who have heard all the names of Medicine Master Vaidurya like Tathagata, one of proper and equal enlightenment, should recite and uphold them. In the early morning, after brushing their teeth and bathing, they should make offerings of fragrant flowers, incense, perfume balms, and various kinds of music before an image of that Buddha. They should personally write out this sutra or ask others to do so, and they should single-mindedly and constantly recite it. Okay, you will see that I've highlighted the part heard all the names, okay, of Medicine Master Buddha. What does that mean? Okay, we'll come to that. But make a mental note. If you're taking notes, all right, you want to create a new section, heard all the names. What does that mean? Because I'm going to give some notes about to that. But that will come later. All right, let's go through the section of sutra text, and then we'll come back and revisit this. But the parts that you see highlighted are the ones that I'm going to concentrate on. Okay, so next, if they listen to explanations of its meaning from a Dharma master, they should make offerings to him of all necessities so that he is without the slightest one. You know, of all the entire sutra, this is my favorite part. Okay, jokes aside, let's continue. In this way, they will receive the mindful protection of the Buddhas. All of their wishes will be fulfilled, and they will ultimately attain Bodhi. Then, at that time, the pure youth Manjushri said to the Buddha, "World-honored one, I vow that in the Dharma image age, using various expedient means, I shall enable good men and women of pure faith to hear the name of the world-honored one, Medicine Master Vaidurya like Tathagata. Even during their sleep, I will awaken them with this Buddha's name." Then he continues. He says, "World-honored one, there may be those who accept and uphold this sutra, read and recite it, explain its meanings for others, write it out themselves, or tell others to write it out. They may revere it by making offerings of various flowers, paste incense, powdered incense, stick incense, flower garlands, necklaces, banners, canopies, and music. They may make bags of 5-colored thread in which to keep the sutra. They may sweep clean a place and arrange a high altar on which to place this sutra. At that time, the 4 heavenly kings with their retinues and innumerable hundreds of thousands of gods will come to that place to worship and protect it." Okay, I have lectured before on who the 4 heavenly kings are. And if you remember, okay, they command all the ghosts and spirits. So that's a big deal if you have their protection. Okay, all right. Now, it says, Well-honored one, it should be known that if in the places where this precious sutra circulates, people can accept and uphold it, then due to the merit and virtue of the past vows of that well-honored one, Medicine Master Vaidurya like Tathagata, and because they have heard his name, none of those people will excuse me, none of those people will meet with untimely death. In addition, none of them will be robbed of their vital energy by evil ghosts and spirits. Those people whose vital energies have already been robbed will regain their health and be happy and at peace in body and mind. Okay, so that marks the end of this section of the sutra. Now, we are going to go to the names of a Buddha, because that section was if okay, hold on, let me get that slide again. Okay. Oh no. It says, Moreover, Manjushri, men of women of pure faith, who have heard all the names of Medicine Master Vaidurya like Tathagata. Okay, all the names. There are two aspects here that I want to touch on. One is how many names does Medicine Master Buddha have? And the second one is, what does it mean when the sutras say, hear the names? Because these sutras, like this Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, is a Mahayana Sutra. And especially the Mahayana Sutras, all the sutras are profound. But especially the Mahayana Sutras, they're very profound because there's a lot of metaphors that are used. And the deeper your level of practice, or sometimes your understanding, the deeper the meaning that reveals itself. So for a beginner, they may take the sutras at face value. It's literal, but for someone who is more advanced in their practice, then the sutras take on a whole different meaning. The words are the same, but the implications and the meaning and the principles go very deep. Okay, now let me go back to that text. Okay, so this is Shufu's commentary on the Song of Awakening. Shufu mentioned this in a few places, but I chose to take this particular commentary. Shufu says the Buddha has 10 titles, and Tathagata is one of them. What are the other 9? They are: 1 worthy of offerings, fully awakened one whose understanding and practice are complete, well gone one who understands the world, Supreme Lord, trainer of those ready to be trained, teacher of gods or devas and humans, Buddha, and world-honored one. So that makes up 10. Every Buddha shares these 10 titles. Then Shufu said, originally each Buddha had 84,000 titles, which were too many for people to remember. So 84,000 titles here may mean literally 84,000, okay? But it could also mean metaphorically that the Buddha's titles are limitless. It means there's no end to the titles that a Buddha has. And then Shufu said, whether it's 84,000 literal or metaphorical, it doesn't remember, because you're not going to remember them anyway. The intellect is unable to memorize, most of us. Then Shufu says, later it was reduced to 10,000 titles. All right. Then from 10,000 titles, it was further reduced to 1,000 and then to 100. But people still could not remember that many. So eventually only 10 titles remain. All Buddhas have these 10 titles. So all the Buddha's ways are the same, as are all Buddhas. Thus it is said all Buddhas throughout the 10 directions and 3 periods of time share the same Dharma body. They all share the same 10 titles as well. Okay, now I couldn't find, the 100 names, the 1,000 titles of the Buddha. These are titles. These are different from names. Okay, we have the Sutra of 10,000 Buddhas that has 10,000 names of different Buddhas. That's different. Okay, this, what we are talking about right now, is the titles or the epithets of a Buddha, not the name of individual Buddhas. Okay, two different things. But I did find there's 100 names, or 100 titles of a Buddha, and on your screen you see some of it there. All right, excuse me. What you see on your screen is a selection. On the left is the Devanagari or the Sanskrit text. On the right is serviceable English translation. It gives you an idea of the titles of a Buddha. So there's 108 titles of the Buddha that can be found. And not only that, there are sutras that mention for 3 bodhisattvas: Manjushri Bodhisattva, Kitishgarbha or Earth Store Bodhisattva, and Avalokiteshvara or Guanyin Bodhisattva. The 3 of them have 3 individual sutras that also describe the 108 names, 108 titles that they have. Yeah. Okay. So I'm just sharing some of this with you. Okay, now we will explore what it means when the sutras say see or hear, or see and hear the Buddha. And I will use a very similar example to our Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. This is from the Earth Store Sutra. There's a passage in the Earth Store Sutra that says, the Buddha told empty space, store Bodhisattva, listen attentively, I shall enumerate and describe them to you. If they are good men and women in the future who see Earth Store's image, or who hear this sutra or read or recite it, who use incense, flowers, food and drink, clothing, or gems as offerings, or if they praise, behold, and worship him, they shall attain 28 kinds of advantages. All right, it sounds like a great bargain. You know, all you have to do, right? It seems as if all you have to do is see an image of Earth Store Bodhisattva, or you hear the sutra. You know, if you have come to the temple during the last week, you just finished the Earth Store session, or you read the sutra, now that you're going to get 28 benefits, you go and look for the sutra and you read it, or you recite it, or you offer, incense, flowers, food and drink, clothing, right? What are the 28 kinds of advantages? There on your screen. You will know your past lives. For example, your families will be happy, epidemics will not touch you, thieves will never bother you, you never get anything stolen, you'll be aided by ghosts and spirits. Women will be reborn as men. If born as women, there will be daughters of kings and ministers. You'll be often born in the heavens. Look at number 20, you will be eternally apart from the paths of karma. I think this means the three lower destinies. You will always arrive at your destination. That has multiple meanings. That means you always get to where you want to go. But I think more profoundly, it means in your practice, you will always achieve your practice. You have peaceful dreams, no nightmares. Even your deceased relatives will leave suffering behind. And that has to do with Melinda's question. Melinda, I'm going to ask you to repeat your question later towards the end. All right, so look at this. There's 28 benefits. Okay, I'm going to go back to the previous slide. All you need to do, according to the sutra, right, is just see his image, Earth Store Bodhisattva's image, or hear the sutra, or read or recite it, or make an offering of incense or flowers or food and drink. Or if you praise, behold, and you worship, you bow, you prostrate to Earth Store Bodhisattva, you will get these 28 kinds of benefits. That's what the sutra says. Okay, and if we just give me a moment, let me get back to our slide. This one. Okay, for our Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, it says, recite and uphold them. Then after brushing your teeth and bathing, you should make offerings of fragrant flowers, incense, perfume balms, and various kinds of music. Or you write out the sutra or ask others to do so. Right? Now, what do you all think? Anyone want to, or any question? Maybe, or you have anything you want to share? While I get the slide that I want to explain this. No? Okay, maybe that's a hard question. All right. Now, Shufu says, when the text speaks of beings who see a Earth Bodhisattva's image, it refers to the trueness of their vision. What is that? We'll come to that. It says, hearing the sutra shows the trueness of their hearing. Recitation and offerings of food and drink show the trueness of their speech and taste, while offerings of incense and flowers show the trueness of their sense of smell. The use of clothing and gems show the trueness of their sense of touch. What are these? These are the six senses: the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. So Shufu says, when all six senses, including the mind or thoughts, are true, that's the catch. Living beings may derive 28 kinds of benefit. So it's not just merely seeing with your eye, this eye that you're opening right now, looking at the screen and looking around. Not as simple as that. Okay, so what does it mean when Shufu says, when all six senses are true? Then it makes sense, right? Now you go back, let me go back one slide. If you look at it from a perspective of cause and effect, which is the conditioned world, which is our world of samsara, everything is based on cause and effect. Nothing is out of cause and effect. Then it makes sense. Then these blessings will make sense. Why? Because you've earned it. Okay, you've earned it by working so hard at your practice and your cultivation that your six senses become pure. That's what it means when Shufu says your six senses are true. These are the benefits enjoyed by someone at that level. At the very least, okay, at this level, the very least is the minimum to get these 28 benefits is you have to be a stream enterer or first stage arhat, or very close to a first stage arhat. You're not there yet, but you're going to get there. So then it makes sense. That's why your good roots will increase daily. Why? Because you don't have the sense of self anymore. You're in terms of birth and death. The first stage arhat has a maximum of only 7 births to go. In that sense, they are irreversible. They will not fall back. And not only that, they will not fall into the 3 evil destinies at all. It's impossible, So if you look at it from that perspective, then the sutras make sense. And then it's not a case of superstition. It's not a case of you go up to Earth Bodhisattva, you put your palms together, you pai. You bow because, you think that it's good. And you can expect all these benefits. It's not as simple as that. Okay? All right, now coming back to our notes. So when Shufu says 6 senses are true, it means you have no outflows, no false thinking. All right? When you look at something, the 6 sense objects do not turn you. They do not affect how you feel. Your happiness or your sense of well-being is not conditioned on any of the six sensory objects. In other words, the world. Okay, anything in the entire world, okay, gold, silver, fame, whatever it is, okay, has no power over you anymore. All right, so it's very profound. Okay, it's a very profound state. I have more slides that will explain more on this. Okay, now, excuse me. Also, in the Earth Source Sutra, there's another section that says the living beings on Jambudvipa, that's us, have strong affinity with this great being, who, Earth Source Bodhisattva. And if they hear his name, see his image, or hear but 3 or 5 words, a verse or a sentence of this sutra, they will obtain particularly wonderful peace and happiness in this present life. Through hundreds of thousands of tens of thousands of future lives, their appearance will always be upright, and they will be born into honorable and wealthy families. Okay, the reason I chose this is because it's very, very similar, if not almost identical, to what we just read from our Medicine Master Buddha Sutra. Okay, now Shufu in his commentary, okay, let me highlight it first. Sorry. Okay, hear his name. We kind of establish what hearing now means. When you see in the sutra, hear, or like in the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, his vows, if people hear my name, they will be free of illness and all that. Now we know it's not so simple. It's not just hearing with your ear. The hearing is a culmination of how you say, very profound practice. Okay, and same goes for seeing the image, right? Okay, and then but in this sutra there's something that's a bit coded. That means the meaning is not immediately obvious, which is 3 or 5 words, a verse or a sentence of this sutra. Now for many years, okay, actually until this week, okay, during the Earth Store session, yes, I myself took it literally. I mean, I read Shufu's commentary on the Earth Store Sutra, but 1 year in, 1 year out, I see with my ears. sorry, I see with my eyes. I saw the words with my eyes. I read it with my eyes, right? And the words echo around in my mind. But there was nothing concrete. There wasn't any settling of meaning or transformation in myself. Not proper transformation, but at least in understanding something new. It didn't happen at all. Until this week. Yeah. So I always thought 3 words, 5 words. Verse is, it's like, who doesn't know what 3 words or 5 words mean, right? Even a 5-year-old will know what 3 or 5 words mean. But no, it's not that simple. Okay, what Shufu says the 3 words mentioned in the text represent the disintegration of the 3 delusions. Cause delusions, find delusions, delusions like dust and sand. What are delusions? Ignorance. So cause delusions are deluded views or wrong views. Fine ones are the delusions of thought, and those as numerous as dust and sand are the delusions of ignorance. That's what's going on in our minds right now. To the extent that myself, having read Shufu's commentary on the Earth Store Sutra so many times, I totally did not register this part at all. And to me now is very profound. Why? Because suddenly I recognize what it meant. Yeah. So I'm sharing it with all of you. All right. So let's look at this. All right. Cause delusions, find delusions like dust and sand. And then let's go back to the sutra text again. All right. Or hear but 3 or 5 words. In other words, even if you study the entire sutra and you memorize the whole sutra, you still have to use the principles of the sutra to practice until you eliminate your delusions. Okay, and that's how you get particularly wonderful peace and happiness in this present life. Then it starts to make sense. It's like, the Mahayana Sutras, like the Earth Source Sutra and the Medicine Master Buddha Sutra, is not about faith and devotion. It is. There is an aspect of faith and devotion, but that is a means to an end. It's not faith and devotion are the requirements for salvation, for example, like in other religions. No, it's to help you practice so that you can get rid of your delusions. Okay, excuse me, hold on. Oh, excuse me. Okay, and it's not just that. All right, so Shifu explains this what 3 words mean, right? 3 words, 3 simple words, actually not so simple. Then Shifu says 3 words also represents the destruction of the 3 obstacles: the retribution obstacle, the karma obstacle, the affliction obstacle. Shifu doesn't explain what these 3 things are. Okay, but if you were to guess, it's kind of saying you're free of karma, you know, and that's a huge deal in terms of achievement. Okay, that means your karma does not obstruct you anymore. All right, here but 3 words of the sutra. this okay, that's 3 words represent someone who has overcome their karmic obstacles. Then Shifu says, in addition to the above effects, the 3 words also represent the accomplishment of the 3 kinds of knowledge: knowledge of the way, all knowledge, and knowledge of all modes. Usually these are terms that are associated with bodhisattvas and with the Buddha, you know, this kind of wisdom or knowledge. Then as if these 3 words are not enough, Shifu says they also represent the perfection of the 3 virtues of the Dharma body, of prajna or wisdom, and of liberation. Now, so there's 3 words, okay? Now, 5 words. When the text mentions 5 words, it refers to the disintegration of the 5 dwellings. The first of this is dwelling in the affliction of views and love. Because there are views, there's also love, which arises for that which is viewed. Okay, that's the first dwelling. So, overcoming emotional love. Now, number 2, affliction of desire and love. Because of desire, there arises love and consequently afflictions. In people who are devoid of love, there is no hate, and without hatred, there are no afflictions. This means you are free of discrimination. Okay, number 2, very big deal. Very, very big deal. Number 3, affliction of dwelling in form and love, or desire, which arises when desire occurs with respect to form. That means no form, you are not attached to any form at all whatsoever, no desire at all. You know, these are stories of monks who, you know, they can sit there for long periods of time and Mara tries to disturb them. They're not successful. Mara is not successful. The people leave gold in front of them and the gold is still there a few years later. These are the kind of people. Number 4, affliction of dwelling in formlessness. This is a very high concentration of dhyana or samadhi. And then number is a meditative state. And number 5 is the affliction of dwelling in ignorance. You're free of ignorance. And Shifu says, on hearing this sutra, it is possible to break the 5 dwellings in affliction and leave the 5 paths. Now, if you were to draw a line, okay, from hearing this sutra to breaking the 5 afflictions and leaving the 5 paths, that's a very long line. Okay, so Mahayana Sutras are very profound. The language is very simple. The language is very straightforward, very simple, to the point that is so easy to dismiss. There's one criticism that is made of Mahayana Sutras such as this, because they say that it pushes people to only pray and it gives a wrong view of practice. But it's not the sutras themselves that is at fault. It's rather our lack of wisdom or understanding. Okay, now we're running out of time. Just let me finish Shifu's commentary on this section. Shifu says it's also possible to strengthen the 5 faculties, develop the 5 powers, and accomplish the 5-fold Dharma body, all just from hearing the sutra. Okay, 5 words. 5 words of the sutra includes all this. It says the 5 faculties are faith, vigor, mindfulness, concentration, wisdom. Number one, faith is, in Buddhism, faith is not a blind belief or blind acceptance. Faith means confidence. Confidence or trust in the Buddha, confidence and trust in the Dharma, that means in the Buddha's teachings. Confidence and trust in the Arya Sangha, that means the noble ones, the ones who have ended birth and death. And finally, to translate all that confidence and trust into your own ability to achieve the same results that the Aryan, the Sangha is showing you how to do it. So that's what faith means in from the Buddha's perspective. And that's how you can develop vigor, because you have confidence that you're walking the right path, right? And mindfulness and concentration, and eventually gain wisdom. So Shifu says the 5 powers are the resulting strengths that arise from development of the 5 faculties. And then Shifu goes on, as if those 5 words were not multiplied enough. Shifu says the fivefold Dhamma body is composed of morality or precepts, samadhi or concentration, wisdom, liberation, and number 5, the liberated knowledge and views. Hearing one verse or even a sentence of principle from this sutra can cause you to leave through the one door and enter the miraculous adornment road. Hearing one sentence can cause you to attain the complete brightness of the one nature. Who is this? Well, the sixth Petrarch comes to mind. The sixth Petrarch, when he was selling firewood and he heard a single verse of the I can't remember, was it the Heart Sutra or the Prajna Paramita Sutra? That's what happened to him. Okay, continuing. To explain these principles fully will take many words. I am only giving you their names, for they will be explained more carefully in the future. That's what Shufu was saying during this time when he was lecturing. Okay, now coming back to that original slide in here. Okay, so now you know, all right, although the sutras that we read sometimes may seem very simple, okay, they may seem so straightforward and they may promise a lot. Actually, that's not the case. They're very profound. Okay, hearing, seeing, even the simple 3 words, 5 words, it's not that simple. Okay, what they're saying is, when you see or hear, in other words, it's kind of like saying, do you recognize the Buddha or the Bodhisattva? At a very rudimentary level, it is when, say, an act of compassion happens in front of a person. You know, someone will say, oh, do you see Guan Yin Bodhisattva? And if that person is a very selfish, self-centered person, then even if it was literally Guan Yin Bodhisattva manifesting in front of him and performing an act of kindness and compassion in helping others, someone with that self-centeredness may criticize, say, oh, why is that person so stupid? Why are they not, taking care of themselves first? Why are they, who would do that? Why would you help someone without getting any benefit back? People like that do not recognize. So it's like saying, oh, Guan Yin is right in front of you, but you do not recognize Guan Yin Bodhisattva. Yeah, so it's like that. Okay, now before we go to Melinda's question, does anyone have anything you want to bring up or any questions?
Sir, there's one part after this screen, there is one called Dharma Image Asia. What is that?
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me get that slide for you. Okay, is it this one?
Yes, Pastor.
Okay, there are 3 periods of the Dharma. When the Buddha was around, okay, some people say for 500 years, some people say for 1,000 years. It was known as the proper Dharma age. And then after the Buddha entered Nirvana, for the next 1,000 years was known as the Dharma image age. which is what this sutra refers to. And after that period, which is where we are right now, is known as the Dharma ending age. Now, how do we understand that? Okay. During the proper Dharma age, when people got to see the Buddha, when they heard the teachings, for example, when they hear 3 words or 5 words, they understood what that meant. When they bowed to the Buddha, they had respect and reverence for the Buddha as a teacher. And when they bowed in front of a statue, excuse me, they understood that what they were bowing to was just as much as what the Buddha represented, which is their potential to awaken as well. So when you bow to the Buddha, you're not just bowing to a teacher, but you're also bowing to what it represents, which is your potential for awakening, which is why the Buddha taught all of us. The Buddha teaches us so that we can all become Buddhas, just like him. Okay? So people understood when during the Buddha's time how to hold precepts, the spirit of holding the precepts, and people held the 8 precepts, they knew what they needed to do. And that's why a lot of people were very successful during the proper Dharma age. Now, coming to the Dharma image age, which is 1,000 years after the Buddha's time, people started to forget. So you could imagine a scenario where people will come to the temple and instead of reminding themselves to practice, maybe they were sitting around talking. And I'm just giving an example to help people understand the principle behind these 3 periods. So people started to neglect the practice. So what happened was very wise people, patriarchs, started developing ceremonies, ritualizing the practice, and creating images of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas as a way to remind us of our practice. So when someone saw the image of the Buddha, they were reminded of the spirit of the teaching. So when they bow to the image of the Buddha, they reminded themselves, although this Buddha is external, is an image of the Buddha, what it represents is my potential for awakening. Because there's a huge difference when you bow, you think you're bowing to some powerful being like a god, okay, that exists outside of you, compared to seeing the Buddha inside of you and respecting and also respecting and also also respecting and worshipping your potential to be a Buddha. It is totally different. 2 different, very transforming, okay, to do the second part. And then you had ceremonies. Okay, so people come to the temple, the monastery, they join ceremonies, they knew what the repentance ceremonies were about. It's about transforming themselves and becoming better, eradicating their bad habits. So they had the form, but when they were confronted with the form or the image, they understood what the spirit of the practice was. So that's the Dharma image age, all right? And it is said that images of the Buddha proliferated during that time. Now, coming to the Dharma ending age. So during the Dharma ending age, we have the form, we have the ceremonies, we have the rituals, we have the texts, or the language, we have the images, the practices. But what happens is we forget the spirit of behind, the intention behind those practices. So we start to get attached to the practice itself. We think that the form of the practice is the practice. So that's why in the 6th Petrarch Sutra, you had that monk who recited the Lotus Sutra 3,000 times and was very arrogant because he thought by reciting 3,000 times, that was a big deal. You had the monk who ended up being the 2nd Petrarch of China. He was lecturing on the sutras until heavenly flowers rained down. That's a metaphor for saying that he lectured really well. And he thought that he was doing a great job. He thought that, oh, by lecturing so well, I'm going to end birth and death. Lecturing well has nothing to do with ending birth and death. Reciting the sutras 3,000 times has nothing to do with ending birth and death. They're just platforms of practice. But they thought that the practice themselves were efficacious. So now we have people who come to the temple, they bow to the Buddha, maybe because they take the sutras literally. They hear the sutra, they recite the Buddha's name, they take part in repentance, and they say, oh yeah, I've done it. To them, that's the practice. A lot of people tell me they have homework. They do morning ceremony, evening ceremony, and all that. They have a lot of homework. And they think that those practices or rituals in of themselves are going to save them. All right? Why do we have this mistaken understanding? Because we're in the Dharma ending age. Don't talk about the Buddha's time, 3,000 years ago. Okay? Why do we have such difficulties understanding the sutras? Just look at language for one example. All right? Look at Shakespeare English, Old English. If you read Shakespeare's English, which is just a few hundred years old, I don't know how many 100 years old, but not very long compared to the time we are removed from the Buddha. Hardly anyone would, understand the meaning because we are removed from language, culture, what else? So many things that make it become alien to us in just such a short period of time. Even moral standards change. Morality is always based on contemporary, it's conditioned on geographical area, the community itself, and the time. So you can see this trend of the principle of people forgetting the spirit and starting to get attached to the form and finally mistaking the form for the practice itself in all religions, not just in Buddhism. It's just how things are when things evolve. That's just a natural way. Even companies have to go through that. It's very difficult. Or families. A family can have very strong values in one generation, but over subsequent generations, it gets diluted. So that's why it's very important to preserve the teachings of the Buddha, and that's why it is very important to understand the sutras well, and to uncover the spirit behind the practice. So doing ceremonies in of itself, if you don't understand, it's meant to transform you and to purify your six senses. You never get anywhere. All you do is just plant karmic seeds of liking ceremonies. That's all. That's it. Okay. All right, Melinda. Wait, Melinda. Before you ask your question, the other question that you had, your original question. Does anyone has any questions? Any other questions? No? Okay. Melinda, would you like to ask your other question?
Yes, Pastor Amitabha. Actually, the questions arose because these questions I asked on behalf of a Dharma friend. She has a sister passed away when she was very small. But the parents, because were very sad, so to want to talk about this incident. Now her parents already passed away, and she wanted to pull up a plaque for her late sister, but do not know her name, do not know how to write her name. That's why they advise her to put under ancestors group. So she got a bit the confusion is rose whether ancestor or the seven generations. That's why I want to ask on her behalf, what is the difference between ancestor and the seven generations? This is my first questions.
Okay, she wants to put the plaque up to help her sister or on behalf of her sister to help her sister's parents and her own parents.
Okay, now her parents already passed away. She has a leg sister.
I know.
The sister already, this leg sister also passed away very young, and
Okay.
she doesn't know how to write her name. When she want to pull up the plaque for her sister, she was advised to put under ancestor plaque. That's why she
Okay.
got
Okay, maybe let's handle one thing at one time. Okay. Although she may not know the sister's name, what she
yes,
can do is to put a substitute as in daughter of so and so, like first daughter or second daughter of her parents' names. That means so like say second daughter of Mr. and Mrs. like that, and sister of then her own name. You understand?
yes.
So that so
By right, this one will be very simple, but
yeah.
advise her to put under ancestor. That's why she got the confusion.
Yeah. Okay.
Ancestor.
So if you want to, if she wants to be precise, she can put that name or substitute for a name. Is the description of the sister, but not the name itself, since there's no name. Okay.
Yes.
So she can put that. Now, the second issue is whether to put under ancestor plaque, right?
Yes.
Or what is the other option?
No, to ask her to advise her to put under ancestor. That's why she come to the mind. What is the difference between ancestor or the seven generations?
Okay. So all right, maybe I will explain. According to the precepts, when they say ancestors, it means 7 generations of ancestors. That means great, 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 7 great grandparents until your present parents. That is what it means by ancestors. Okay. When they say 7 generations pass, there's another meaning, which is parents of 7 generations past, like the Ulambana Sutta. It means your present parents as well as your parents from your 7 past lives. So 2 different things. I'm giving you the official definition of what 7 generation means in Buddhism. There are 2 ways to understand. Okay, one is from great grandparents until now. That means in this life family tree. The second way of understanding, like in the Ulambana Sutta, is parents up to 7 past lives before. Okay, all right. Those now we settle that. Okay. Now when it comes to Pai Wei and ancestors, it depends on your intention whether you want 7 parents from past life or 7 generation of ancestors. It's usually for, let's say if I'm putting in my name, is for my ancestors rather than so I guess if she wants to put her sister in the ancestor also it's also possible, because it also includes close relatives. Okay, but if she wants to be more specific, she can put, like I said, even though she doesn't have a name, the name will be daughter of Mr. and second daughter or first daughter, eldest daughter or youngest daughter, of Mr. and Mrs. So there's no mistaking to who is for, since she has no name. Then she can put in the other category, which is for rebirth, right? That's the two choices that she has, right? Ancestor or rebirth, right? Hello?
Pastor, that means my understanding is not right, because in my mind, 7 generations means my own self past the what they call it, my own parents in the past life. This is what my understanding. Is it correct?
Yes. If that's your intention, then yes. Because when you put a plaque up for ancestors, they don't make that distinction. I don't think so. You can ask them to explain, but sometimes they may not understand fully as well. That's why I give you the two official definition of when they say 7 generations. What does it mean? It can mean both. It can mean 7 generations from this present life, or it can mean including 7 generations of parents from your past lives.
Oh, okay. My understanding is not right. Okay. Okay.
So is your question answered?
The first 2 questions are answered. The third one is come to pull up the plug for this long life. Is it
No,
not?
it wouldn't be long life because the sister has passed away. It would be for rebirth.
No, this is another question. The third question, sir. Is it for those they pull up the plug for the karmic eradicating and the long life? The question is whether is it for those already elderly, is it not suitable to pull up this plug?
Oh, why do they want the elderly to die faster? It's for anyone who's alive. Because it's not suitable for anyone who's alive for you to put up a plaque for rebirth. Why? Because it's not time yet. So still alive is long life. Pass away is rebirth. This is just like that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I may be wrong. Does anyone have anything to help Melinda out? Usually the people who are writing the plaques in the temples, they are the specialists in this. Yeah, you can ask them questions and they will be able to advise you. Yeah, that will be what I recommend, because some temples do it slightly differently. They may have different understanding, but like I said, it all depends on your intention. Let's say you put up your own plaque for your ancestors in your mind, or you can just put up one plaque and have both. So it's 7 times 7. All right, that means it will include your 7 levels of ancestors for all 7 past lives. You get a bargain, 7 times 7. Okay, not wrong either. It all is depends on your intention. The Pai is just a form. The Pai didn't exist during the Buddha's time. Okay, let's get that clear. The Pai is just a way. It's just a vehicle for you to do something wholesome. Okay, which is to give money to the temple for a specific reason to help you in your practice. That's all it is. Okay, the Pai. Of course, it has efficacious nature because of your intention and all that. Yeah. So it's not to be dismissed. Okay, but the main thing is your intention. All right. Okay. Any final questions? No. Okay. In that case, we will. Okay. Before we dedicate merit, let's read very quickly the reflection on sharing blessings. This is transference of merit, but in the Theravada circle. Okay. All right, I'm going to put my palms together. Instead of doing our regular dedication of merit, we will do this instead. All right, so we don't have to double do it twice. It says, through the goodness that arises from my practice, may my spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, my mother, my father, and my relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest gods and evil forces, celestial beings, guardian spirits of the earth, and the Lord of Death, may those who are friendly, indifferent, or hostile, may all beings receive the blessings of my life. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless. Through the goodness that arises from my practice, and through this act of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease and all harmful states of mind. Until I realize Nibbana or Nirvana, in every kind of birth, may I have an upright mind, with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold nor weaken my resolve. The Buddha is my excellent refuge. Unsurpassed is the protection of the Dharma. The solitary Buddha is my noble Lord. The Sangha is my supreme support. Through the supreme power of all this, may darkness and delusion be dispelled. Now, if you have been paying attention, that is a very solid way of creating merit. All right, so you have the three aspects. You have loving kindness, you have renunciation, and you have compassion. Okay, now let's since, well, you know what, let me see. Yeah, since that's the end of a dedication of merit, let's do 3 bows to the Buddha. Just let me change my audio setting. Give me a second. Okay, now 3 bows to the Buddha. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Bowing respect to the Venerable Master. Second bow. Third bow. Half bow. Oh, let me see. Calvin is not with us, right? Calvin that has taken recently the Bodhisattva precepts. Is there Calvin with us? No, right? Okay, all right. Is that, let me see, Terry? No, that's, maybe I have the names wrongly mixed up. There was someone who is supposed to share a story about cats today. Was it you, Terry? No, right? Terry Lim? No response? Okay, my mistake then. Okay, Amitofo everyone. We'll see you all next week. Okay, Amitofo.